Raised on a farm in the southern part of the U.S. in Alabama. My grandfather had 100 acres, old-fashioned farming. I hate it. So I am more of a 21st century farmer. And the 21st century farming is like magical, right? So the one thing I did as a child, 13, 14, coming up, is getting up at 5:30 in the morning. We had cattle, we had chickens, we had some mules, hit the, plow the mule. I'm like, as a youngster, I didn't like that at all. I'm also a veteran, and I got away from agriculture for 20-some years, right? So it was back in probably about 2015, I decided to come back into agriculture. So I trained in hydroponics. And of course, when you get into hydroponics, that's basically just providing nutrients to the roots of the plants, and they uptake all the beneficial bacteria, whereby you could produce a crop like every 15 to 20 days, 30 days. So the thing about growing aquaculturally, you guys are in a whole new era of agriculture. It's not the same anymore. So we're more in the 21st century farming now, right? Which means that if this young man decides he wants to start a farm, build him a greenhouse, he can make $200,000 a year. But you need to have an app that connects growers with buyers, right? In the communities. Therefore, you don't have to be worried about your food that you produce and spoiling. So, yeah, that one is good. So yeah, you don't have to worry about your food spoiling. You got customers immediately. Social media is like the best thing that could ever happen to this generation. So I want you guys to really be encouraged by this class, Dr. Newton, his leadership, and how innovative this could be for you moving forward. So as a result of that, one of the key things that you could focus on is urban ag. Whether it's, I just love moringa myself. It's the new superfood in the U.S., around the world, especially since COVID. It's a immune booster. It's a superfood. You can pretty much put it in anything. I have a regimen myself. I eat 2 seeds every morning. And typically, I would have a smoothie. I would put it in cereal throughout the day. I'll sprinkle some on a salad. But anyway, I want to introduce you to ag tech. Agri-tech is the new way, outside of you growing food, you can also be a consultant. You don't have to be farming. I mean, you could have your greenhouse, right? You could also be a consultant for other farmers and help them. And this is where the app comes in, so you're connected with everyone, right? Around the continent, so that you don't feel like you're alone while you are taking on this new journey. Could I get the next slide? So here we are, 21st century, right? To throw the field away. Yes.
These ones can help you go forward and backward on the slide.
Tops, vertical farming, edible walls, edible landscape, backyard gardens, community gardens, urban farms, and of course here you have your peri-urban. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not against soil farming, the old traditional way, but everybody's moving into the city, right? The urban population is swelling. Therefore, You got to eat to live, right? So what you want to do is learn hydroponics, aquaponics, aquaculture, vermiponics. I'm going to throw some terms out that you may not be familiar with, but I'm going to show you later. Bioponics. So there's different methods of growing nutritious organic food without having the soil. So let's take composting. You can compost all of this non-acidic waste and turn that into compost to grow more food with, right? Using red worms. Now the red worms' specific purpose is to keep the soil aerated, but they also poop. When they poop in the soil, you have a drip system in your garden and all of that waste gets recirculated. And I'll show you where that happens at, right? But this is where you guys are right now in the 21st century in terms of urban farming. Like I said, if you live you may have, live inside the city where you may have a 20-story building. You can actually grow vertically on every floor, right? That's your new farm. You could take advantage of the growth space, have 3 greenhouses on the rooftops. Down on the bottom here, you may have 10 restaurants from the farm to the table, right? You don't have to worry about a carbon footprint, transportation costs, all of that stuff gone, right? More profit. Yes, sir. Here?
What impact will it have on their building?
None.
When you start building on
No,
the of the building,
no impact.
does it happen in the next
No impact. And the fact that during the rainy season, you could capture the rainwater to water your crops, right? So you're totally sustainable. Now we're going to throw in solar. You got a solar farm, so your operation cost is really minimal, right? And that's the thing so we'll throw in solar gardens in here, right? Because solar farming is also like a really key advancement, say in the last 10 years, which makes your farming ability more profitable. Like I said, you can make easily $200,000-300,000 a year, depends on, now if you got 3 greenhouses up here, or you're gonna be the king, okay? You'll be the king. And you don't have to, like I said, you can hire people, pay them good wages. You'll be totally sustainable, and you don't necessarily have to worry about transport unless you're shipping stuff across the country, across the world. And the other beautiful thing about 21st century farming is the sustainability. And the fact that if you're a 21st century farmer, now urban agriculture also comes with some challenges, because in most cities, you need to have an urban ag ordinance in place that allows you to grow food for profit and to distribute to your neighbors, or say if you want to have a juice bar, you want to have a farmer's market, you could do all of that in a shipping container, just sit up on the corner, make tons of money, right? So, and you throw solar in, that means your operation cost is way, way down. And that's the beauty of it. Now when we get out here, we're talking, you got cattle. I don't deal with that livestock, but we have found a way how to decrease your food costs, your production costs, and your feed bill to cattle and goats by feeding them moringa, right? Reduce your feed bill by 50%. But you have to pelletize it and add some other nutritious ingredients like duckweed, snake grass, right? The edible landscape part of this is, like, let's say you had a park here. In the US, we got parks all over the place. Well, what we have not done yet is to have an edible landscape. So you go to a park, you should be able to go pick some fruit off the tree to eat while you're just canvassing the place and having a good time, right? There should be a community garden whereby you can go and pick something yourself, right? Now, in a city like some cities in California, you can actually do that, like in Sacramento. They have a park where it sits on about an acre and they plant all types of crops. So you can go in there, harvest what you want, take it home, right? There's a limited amount, but at the same time, over here on the urban farm, you have your hoop house, you may have a greenhouse, you may have aquaponics, and you may have a storage facility back here, processing all of the things that you're growing. So it makes it a lot easier to farm in the 21st century inside the city opposed to down here where you got transportation costs. Now you can still have solar here, but you got to get your food to the market, right? But here, oftentimes the market is already there because there's so many people in the city, right? And you got to eat. Now, if you're living in an apartment building, condominium, in a house, you should grow some food in your backyard, grow food on your patio, on a deck, any open space. So part of your next meal should come from less than 10 feet from your kitchen table. Okay? That's real simple. So if you guys are young and you got to figure out a way to cut your living costs down, and one way to do that is to grow food for yourself and your families, right? So there's 3 new phases of 21st century farming, right? Cellular. Now this is really, I want you to hone in on the cellular side of agriculture. These are new products that you're going to create, bring to the market, right? Whether it's using moringa as a fodder, pet food, toothpaste, hair products, cosmetics, that's moringa, right? So you're in an area where now you go to the grocery store, you got pork without the pig, chickens without the eggs, wine without the grape. So in those cases where you have that ability to create new superfoods, of course, you know, one of the things that Dr. Newton is going to go through this class as I'm learning is that food safety, calibrating the quantity and the quality of your food, so that you don't have to deal with health department issues or people getting sick, E. coli, things of that nature, right? So as you go along through your class this year, think about the innovation part of what you're going to do with your farms. If you're going to grow indoors or outdoors. And by the way, I'm going to throw, because it's such a worldwide it has worldwide use nowadays, you throw cannabis in here for medical, okay? Not for psychoactivity and none of that. Just for medical. People that have inflammation, you know, that's where you get into your turmerics and moringa and things of that nature. But don't be afraid to look at combining those because your market is vast. There are a lot of people around the world that are hungry and suffering from hunger. Now, so we come down here, this is CEA, Controlled Environmental Growing, right? We're talking about greenhouse, where you control the temperature, you're controlling the water usage, you're controlling photosynthesis, you're controlling the entire environment that you're growing in opposed to in the field where you have no control. You wait on Mother Nature because Mother Nature says plant by March, harvest it by September. I'm telling you now, you plant in a controlled environment, you harvest every 30 to 45 days. So you got revenue coming in year round opposed to once a year, right? So that's to me, that's what makes it really attractive. Now the cost to build a controlled environmental farm, the upfront cost is there, but you're going to make that back in a matter of 2 months if you got your market set, right? And remember what I said earlier, your market can be controlled right there on the palm of your hand through the app. It also you can grow and operate your farm off of your iPhone, right? So how easy can it get? You could walk in with a suit every day with a tuxedo on, just dapping around, and next thing you know, you're not even getting dirty because everything is automated, right? So you guys are smart, you're the future leaders, so just think of things that way opposed to, oh, I got to go put my overalls on and some boots because I'm going to get dirty. No, you're not going to get dirty here in this controlled environment. Now, mind you, I'm just kidding about the tuxedo, but I could do that, right? I really could do that in a controlled environment because you're not dealing with soil, you're not dealing with dirt. You're dealing with new age technology. And here in Africa, where you have an abundance of bamboo, perfect for hydroponics. Perfect, right? So you take and you could do it in a controlled environment, in a hoop house or a greenhouse. All you have to do is take the bamboo, hollow it out, make sure you could see all the way through, and then you cut a hole about this big every 6 inches. And then you put your plants in there, right? Coconut coir or some type of media, have your seed in there, and you pump your water through the bamboo. Simple, right? So your plants are going to uptake all of that beneficial bacteria. As a result of that, you're going to be able to grow some very nutritious foods for yourself, your family, the community, and you're going to be rewarded.